The spaceship Harmony hung in orbit around Earth. Its metal skin gleamed in the sunlight. Inside, Captain Tejo looked out at the blue planet below. His four eyes blinked slowly as he thought about his mission. "Captain, I have the daily report," said Science Officer June as he entered the bridge. June was tall and thin with light green skin that seemed to glow under the ship's lights. Tejo turned from the window. "What have you learned about humans today, June?" June held up a data pad. "Humans are very strange, Captain. They watch things that make them feel bad, on purpose." "Explain," said Tejo, sitting down in his captain's chair. "They have many kinds of entertainment, music, games, sports." June scrolled through his notes. "But they also have things made to cause fear, sadness, and even disgust. They choose to experience these feelings." Tejo's upper eyes widened while his lower eyes narrowed, the expression of deep interest in his species. "No other beings in the galaxy do this. That's why the Federation sent us here." The door to the bridge slid open with a soft hiss. Cultural Specialist Hana walked in. Her skin was turning from blue to purple to pink, a sign she was excited. Unlike the others, Hana was Andorian. Her people could change their skin color to show their feelings. "Captain, I found something important in my research," Hana said. She was almost bouncing with excitement, her skin now flashing bright colors. "Humans have a type of entertainment called horror. It seems very important to their culture." "Horror?" asked Communications Officer Do Yun. His long antennae twitched forward, showing his curiosity. Do Yun came from a desert world, and his tough brown skin was covered in tiny hairs that helped him sense changes in air pressure. "What is it for?" "That's what we need to find out," said Tejo. He stood up and walked to the main screen. "The human officer who works with us has given us a movie. It's called The Exorcist. He says it's very famous and important in human horror." "I've been reading about it," said Hana. Her skin had settled into a steady purple. "It's about a young, human female who gets taken over by an evil spirit. Humans have watched it for over 50 years. Medical Officer Sunmi entered the bridge. She had been listening from the doorway. Sunmi was from a water world, and small gills on her neck opened and closed as she spoke. "Captain, should we prepare our minds for this? Our brains don't work like human brains. We haven't evolved to handle fake danger." Tejo waved his hand dismissively. His second thumb, the small extra one that all his people had, tapped against the arm of his chair. "It's just a movie, Sunmi. We've studied human fighting, human sickness, and human death. Nothing bad happened. Their scary stories won't hurt us." Engineer Giwan looked up from where he was fixing a panel on the wall. His six-fingered hands were quick and sure with the tools. "Captain, maybe we should be careful. Humans are tougher than they look. They live on a hard world with many dangers." "That's why they're interesting," said Tejo. "But we are the Galactic Federation. We have traveled between stars for 10,000 years. We have seen black holes and supernovas. One human movie can't hurt us." Hana's skin turned a worried blue. "The human officer said this movie scared many humans when it first came out. Some got sick in the theaters. Others couldn't sleep after watching it." Do Yun's antennae curled back toward his head. "If it scared humans who live with danger all the time, maybe we should be careful." "Nonsense," said Tejo. "Our minds are different from human minds. What scares them will just seem strange to us. Besides, it's our job to understand them. The Galactic Council wants to know if humans are safe to join our alliance." June looked at his data pad again. "Humans enjoy many kinds of entertainment that seem harmful. They watch sad stories that make them cry. They jump from high places for fun. They eat plants that burn their mouths." "Exactly," said Tejo. "They're a puzzle we need to solve, and this horror is part of the puzzle." Sunmi still looked worried. Her gills were fluttering quickly. "At least let me scan everyone before and after the movie. If there are mental changes, we should know right away." "Fine," said Tejo. "Do your scans. But I think you're all being too careful. It's just moving pictures with sounds. It can't hurt us." Hana touched a button on her wrist computer. "I've set up the movie in the big meeting room. We can all watch it tonight. I've invited the representatives from the other ships too." Good, said Teho. The Vordi will be especially helpful. Since they can feel emotions from others, they can tell us how humans really feel when they watch these things. The Talon are coming too, said Hana. They want to understand the logic of horror. Giwan put away his tools. There is no logic in scaring yourself for fun. That's what makes humans special, said Teho. They do things that make no sense. Yet they've survived on their dangerous world and have started exploring space. We need to understand how they think. Later, as the ship's day cycle turned to night, Teho sat alone in his room. He looked at pictures of humans on his screen. Such soft creatures with no natural weapons, no claws, no poison, no armor, just clever minds in weak bodies. How had they survived? And why did they enjoy being afraid? Computer, tell me about The Exorcist, he said. The computer's calm voice filled the room. The Exorcist is a human horror film from 1973. It tells the story of a young girl who is possessed by an evil entity. A religious human called a priest tries to save her. Show me an image from the film, said Teho. A picture appeared on the screen. It showed a human girl with damaged skin and strange eyes. Teho studied it carefully. It was just makeup and lighting tricks. Nothing scary at all. Tomorrow will be interesting, he said to himself. But not frightening. After all, what could humans imagine that would scare beings who have seen the real horrors of the galaxy? As he prepared for sleep, Teho didn't know that in less than one day he would have the answer to that question, and he wouldn't like it at all. The big meeting room on the Harmony looked different now. The crew had changed it to be like a human movie theater. The lights were low, the seats were soft. A table at the back had human snacks called popcorn and candy. Engineer Giwan picked up a piece of popcorn. He sniffed it with his flat nose. Why do humans eat while they watch things? It makes no sense. Hana's skin turned a thoughtful shade of green. It's part of how they enjoy movies. The food, the dark room, the big screen. It all helps them feel more in the story. Captain Teho stood at the door, greeting the visitors from other ships. Ambassador Min led them in. Min was human-shaped but had thick gray skin that looked like stone. Behind him came 6 Vordi. They were short with large eyes that took up most of their faces. Their thin bodies moved gracefully as if they were always dancing. The Vordi can feel what others feel, Teho whispered to June. They will help us understand the human emotions in the movie. Next came the Talon group. They walked in perfect lines, their metal-like skin gleaming in the low light. Each Talon had 3 eyes in a row and no visible mouth. They spoke through small holes in their necks. The Talon think only with logic, said Teho. They will give us a different view of the movie. Soon 28 aliens sat in the room. Some ate the strange human food. Others just waited quietly. Medical officer Sunmi moved through the crowd, scanning each one with her medical tool. Everyone is calm now, she reported to Teho. I will check again after the movie. Ambassador Min stood in front of the big screen. Friends, thank you for coming to this cultural study. We will watch a human horror movie called The Exorcist. Humans watch these movies for fun, even though they may seem scary or strange. Please remember that everything you see is fake. No humans were hurt making this movie. The lights went down. The screen lit up. The movie began. At first, everything was fine. The aliens watched with interest as the story started. They saw old buildings in a hot, sandy place. They saw doctors looking at a sick human girl. Their medical tools are so simple, said Sunmi, making notes on her data pad. They were still using needles and thread to fix injuries. The movie continued. The girl got sicker. Strange things started to happen around her. The room got colder. Duyun leaned over to Teho. Why is the human child making her bed shake? Is this some kind of human power we didn't know about? Teho shook his head. It's just a story, Doyun, not real. But as the movie went on, the aliens began to feel uncomfortable. When the girl's head turned all the way around, one of the Vordi made a high squeaking sound and covered its eyes. That's not physically possible, whispered June. His green skin had turned pale. Human spines can't twist that way. It's just a trick, said Teho, but his voice shook a little. They use, what do humans call it? Special effects. The Talon, in the front row, were sitting very still. Too still. One of them stood up suddenly. This narrative contains too many logical errors, it said in a flat voice. I must leave. 3 more Talon followed it out of the room. The door opened and closed, letting in a flash of bright light that made everyone blink. On the screen, the girl was changing more. Her face looked wrong. She spoke in a deep voice that wasn't like a child's voice at all. She said terrible things. One of the Vordi began to shake, then another. They could feel the fear that the human actors had put into their performances. It was too much for them. Their emotions, gasped one Vordi. So strong, so dark. Why do they want to feel this way? Duyun's antennae were flat against his head now. That was a bad sign. It meant he was very upset. Captain, the sounds in this movie, they are hitting parts of our brains that haven't been used for thousands of years, parts that feel danger and fear. Hana's skin had turned a sickly gray color. This can't be entertainment, it's some kind of test or a weapon. Teho wanted to say they were wrong, but he couldn't speak. Something deep and old inside his mind was waking up. Something that told him to run, to hide, to get away from the danger. But there was no real danger. It was just a movie. Just moving pictures and sounds. Then came the scene with the cross. The human girl did something so terrible with it that even Teho couldn't watch anymore. A Vordi fell out of its seat, shaking on the floor. 2 Talon who had stayed were frozen in their chairs, their 3 eyes wide open and unblinking. Stop the movie, Teho tried to say, but his mouth was dry. He tried again, louder. Stop the movie. June fumbled with the controls. The screen went black. The lights came on. It was worse than Teho had expected. The room was in chaos. 3 Vordi were curled up in balls, making high crying sounds. The remaining Talon sat perfectly still, as if their minds had stopped working. Giwan was under his seat. Sunmi was trying to help a visitor who seemed to be having trouble breathing. Duyun looked at Teho with wide, frightened eyes. Captain, what was that? Why would humans make such a thing? Teho couldn't answer. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he tried to make sense of what he'd seen. His hearts were beating too fast. Ambassador Min looked around the room, confused. Why did you stop it? We're only halfway through. Don't you want to see how it ends? Teho stared at Min in disbelief. You watched the whole thing? There's more? Min nodded. Oh yes. It gets much more intense after this part. The room was silent except for the soft crying of the Vordi. Medical bay, Teho finally said. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. Everyone to the medical bay now. The medical bay of the Harmony was not built for so many patients. Every bed was full. Medical Officer Sunmi moved quickly from one alien to another. Her hands shook as she gave them medicine to calm their minds. She was trying to help others, but she felt sick too. How are they? Captain Teho asked. He sat on a metal table with small machines stuck to his head. The machines beeped softly as they checked his brain. Sunmi looked at her medical screen. Her gills opened and closed faster than normal. This is bad, Captain. Very bad. It's not just that they're scared. The movie has changed how their brains work. That's impossible, said Teho, but his voice was weak. It was just a movie. Just light and sound. It was more than that, said Sunmi. The movie found parts of our brains that we don't use anymore. Old parts from long ago, when our people still felt fear like animals do. Across the room, a Vordi lay curled up like a baby. It made a high humming sound. 2 doctors tried to help it, but the Vordi wouldn't let them touch it. The Vordi are the worst, said Sunmi. They felt all the fear in the movie. Not just their own fear, but the fear that the human actors were showing. It was too much for them. June sat nearby, drinking a blue liquid that would help calm him. His hands still shook. I don't understand how humans can watch such things. The patterns and images should make them want to run away or hide. Ambassador Min stood with Federation medical experts who had come to help. He looked worried and confused. I'm sorry this happened. We didn't know it would hurt you. Many humans think this movie is not very scary anymore. It's old. Some human children watch it. Children? Hana's skin turned deep blue with shock. You show this to your young? Not all children, Min said quickly. But human teenagers often watch scary movies together. It's a normal thing for them to do. The aliens looked at each other. They had new respect for humans now. And new fear. We need to tell the Galactic Council about this, said Taeho. We were wrong about humans. Their minds are much stronger than we thought. Duyun looked up from his bed. His antennae were still flat against his head. Captain, I checked Earth broadcasts before I got too sick. They have many channels that show only horror movies. All day and all night, just horror. No one spoke for a long time. They all thought about what that meant. How do humans sleep? Asked Giwan finally. How do they close their eyes at night after seeing such things? They find it exciting, said Minto. Some humans feel good after being scared by a movie. They like the feeling. The aliens could not understand this. It made no sense to them. Taeho stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. We need to tell the Federation what happened, and I think we need to wipe the memories of the worst cases. Mind wiping? Sunmi looked shocked. That's only for the worst emergencies. This is an emergency, said Taeho. Look at them. He pointed to the Vordai who were still crying and shaking. They can't live with these images in their heads, and the Talon. He looked at the 3 Talon who sat perfectly still, their eyes open but seeing nothing. Their logical minds can't process what they saw. They're stuck in thought loops. Mind wiping is dangerous, said Sunmi. It changes who they are. Leaving them like this is worse, said Taeho. And we need to think about the future. If word gets out that human entertainment did this to the Federation's best diplomats, some people will say humans did it on purpose. They'll say humans attacked us. But they didn't, said Hana. It was a mistake. Not everyone will believe that, said Taeho. Some will say humans are too dangerous to join the Federation. There could be serious problems. Ambassador Min stepped forward. Captain, I'm truly sorry. If I had known this would happen, I would never have suggested the movie. Is there anything I can do to help? Taeho looked at the human. Min seemed honestly upset. His stone-like face showed real worry. It's not your fault, Ambassador. You didn't know our minds are different from yours. But I need to ask you something. Anything, said Min. Why do humans want to be scared? I still don't understand. Min thought for a moment. It's hard to explain. For some, it's like testing themselves, seeing if they can handle it. For others, it's the feeling they get when the movie is over. Relief that it wasn't real. And some just enjoy the excitement, the way their hearts beat faster. And this is normal for humans? Very normal, said Min. Horror movies make a lot of money. People all over Earth watch them. Taeho shook his head slowly. Your people are very strange, Ambassador. May I make a suggestion? Asked Min. Before you do any mind wiping, let me bring in a human expert. Someone who understands how different species think. Maybe they can help. Taeho nodded. That would be good, but we need to act quickly. Some of these diplomats are getting worse, not better. Over the next 3 days, things did get worse. One Vordai wouldn't eat or drink. It just cried and shook. 2 more Tylan had to be carried to the medical bay when they were found sitting in hallways, unable to move or speak. The worst case was a diplomat from a world called Zith. After seeing the movie, it began to speak only in a strange, deep voice. It said the same things the girl in the movie had said. When anyone came near it, it would scream and try to hurt them. Sunmi had to keep it asleep with medicine. I've never seen anything like this, she told Taeho. It's as if the movie put a new mind inside it, a bad mind. Can you help it? Asked Taeho. I don't know, said Sunmi. I've tried everything I know. But our medicine wasn't made for this kind of problem. No one has ever had this problem before. The Federation sent messages asking what was happening. More doctors came to the Harmony, but they couldn't do much to help. Some of the aliens got a little better, but others stayed the same or got worse. We can't wait anymore, Taeho told his officers on the third day. The Vordai diplomats' families are demanding answers. The Talon High Command wants their people back. I'm going to order mind-wiping for the worst cases. But the human expert is coming tomorrow, said Hana. Shouldn't we wait? Some of them might not live until tomorrow, said Sunmi quietly. Their bodies are shutting down from the stress. Taeho looked out the window at Earth, spinning below them, such a pretty blue planet, home to such strange, tough beings. Start with the Zith diplomat. It's suffering the most. Wipe the last week from its mind. And the others? Asked Sunmi. Let's wait one more day, said Taeho. Give the human expert a chance to help them. That night, as Taeho tried to sleep, he kept seeing images from the movie. The girl's face changing, her head turning all the way around. The things she did with the cross. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw these things. Computer. Lights. He said. He sat up in his bed. How do humans do it? How do they watch such things and then sleep peacefully? He knew now that humans were not the simple beings he had thought. They were complex and strong in ways he hadn't understood. They could look at terrible things and not break. They could feel fear and enjoy it. We have traveled between stars for 10,000 years, he said to himself. But humans might be stronger than us after all. When morning came, Taeho went to the medical bay to check on the patients. The Zith diplomat was awake after its mind-wiping. It looked confused, but calm. Where am I? It asked in its normal voice. Why am I on this ship? You're here for the cultural exchange, said Sunmi. You got sick, but you're better now. I don't remember coming here, it said. That's normal, said Sunmi. Rest now. You'll feel better soon. As Taeho watched, he felt both sad and relieved. The mind-wiping had worked. The diplomat was safe now, but it would never know what had happened to it. A piece of its life was gone forever. Captain, said June from the doorway. The human expert has arrived. The human expert arrived on the Harmony in a small shuttle. Her name was Dr. Ji-Woo Kim. She was shorter than Ambassador Min, but moved with quick, sure steps. Her black hair was tied back, and she wore a simple blue uniform with many pockets. Captain, Taeho met her in the landing bay. Thank you for coming so quickly, Dr. Kim. Call me Ji-Woo, she said as she shook his hand. She didn't seem afraid to touch an alien. I came as soon as I heard what happened. This is very serious. As they walked to the medical bay, Taeho told her everything. He told her about the movie night, the aliens' reactions, and the mind-wiping they had already done on one diplomat. Ji-Woo frowned. You showed them The Exorcist as their first horror movie. Why that one? It's very intense, even for humans. The Cultural Exchange Committee picked it, said Taeho. They said it was important in human history. It is important, said Ji-Woo. But it's like giving someone who has never tasted spicy food the hottest pepper in the galaxy. You should have started with something mild. They arrived at the medical bay. Ji-Woo's eyes widened when she saw the aliens. Some were better now, sitting up and talking quietly. But others were still very sick. The Vordai were the worst. They lay in their beds, eyes closed, making soft crying sounds. I need to see their brain scans, Ji-Woo said to Medical Officer Sunmi. All of them. And I need to know exactly what each species can do. Which ones can read minds? Which ones can feel others' emotions? I need to know everything. Sunmi handed her a datapad. Here are all our reports, but I don't think human medicine can help them. Their brains are very different from yours. Their brains are different, agreed Ji-Woo. But fear is not. Fear is one of the oldest feelings in the galaxy. All beings that can think have some form of fear. It helped us all survive when we were still young species. She looked at the brain scans for a long time. Taeho and Sunmi waited quietly. Finally, Ji-Woo looked up. I think I understand what happened, she said. Your people evolved past fear. You don't need it anymore because you solved all the problems that made you afraid. No more big animals trying to eat you. No more starving in winter. No more dying. From simple cuts or sickness. That's right, said Teho. Fear was not useful anymore. But humans still feel fear every day, said Jiwoo. We still have many dangers on Earth, and when we don't have real dangers, we make fake ones to keep our fear muscles strong. Fear muscles? Asked Sunmi. Not real muscles, said Jiwoo, but parts of our brain that handle fear. We exercise them like you would exercise your arm or leg. Why would you want to feel fear? Asked Teho. It's a bad feeling. It can be, said Jiwoo, but it's also exciting. It makes us feel more alive. And when the movie is over, we feel good because we faced our fear and survived. She walked around the room, looking at each patient. She stopped by a Talon who sat frozen, staring at nothing. The Talon are logical beings, right? She asked. Yes, said Sunmi. They think only in facts and reasons. Then the movie broke their minds because it didn't follow logic, said Jiwoo. A girl's head can't turn all the way around. A chair can't move by itself. None of it makes sense. Exactly, said Teho. Why do humans enjoy things that make no sense? Because sometimes life makes no sense, said Jiwoo. Humans know this. We live with it every day. Bad things happen for no reason. Good people die while bad people live. Nothing is fair or logical. Horror movies help us face this truth. She moved to the Vordai. And the Vordai feel others' emotions, yes? That's why they suffered the most. They felt all the fear in the movie. The characters' fear, the actors' fear. Maybe even the fear of the humans who made the movie. Can you help them? Asked Sunmi. I think so, said Jiwoo. But first I need to talk to the Federation representatives. I need to explain what happened before they decide humans are too dangerous. They went to a meeting room where several important aliens waited. They didn't look happy. One was very tall with bright red skin. Another looked like a big insect. A third was small and blue with 6 arms. This is Dr. Jiwoo Kim, Teho said. She's a xenopsychologist, an expert in how different species think. The red alien spoke first. Dr. Kim, the Federation is very worried about what happened. Some are saying humans attacked our diplomats on purpose. That's not true, said Jiwoo. It was a mistake. We didn't know how your people would react to the movie. But why do humans make such things? Asked the insect-like alien. What is the purpose? Jiwoo thought for a moment. Humans need to face their fears to be strong. We create safe ways to feel afraid. It's like practice. Practice for what? Asked the blue alien. For real danger, said Jiwoo. Earth is still a dangerous place. We have storms, earthquakes, wild animals, diseases. We need to be ready for bad things. Horror helps us practice being afraid without real danger. The aliens talked among themselves. They didn't look convinced. I understand your concerns, Jiwoo said. But please remember that humans didn't mean to hurt anyone. We want to be friends with the Federation. I'm here to help the sick aliens get better. The red alien nodded slowly. We will wait to see if you can help them. But the Federation is watching Earth very carefully now. After the meeting, Jiwoo went back to the medical bay. She asked for a small room where she could work. She set up screens and computers and special lights. What are you doing? Asked Teho. I'm going to help them understand the movie, said Jiwoo. Right now they only have the scary images in their heads. They don't have the context. Context? Asked Sunmi. Yes, said Jiwoo. Humans know that movies aren't real. We know how they're made. We can enjoy being scared because we understand it's all fake. Your people don't have that context, they just have the fear. She asked for 5 aliens who weren't too sick. Taeho, Hana, Jun, Do-Yun, and Gi-Won volunteered. We'll start with you 5, said Jiwoo. If my therapy works for you, we can try it with the others. She took them to her special room. It was warm and had soft chairs and dim lights. It felt safe. On the screens around the room, Jiwoo showed them videos. But these weren't scary videos, they were about how movies are made. This is called behind the scenes, she explained. It shows how humans make movie magic. The aliens watched as human actors put on makeup to look scary. They saw how special machines made the girl's head look like it turned around. They saw wires that made furniture move. "None of it is real," said Ji-woo. "It's all tricks and acting." She showed them interviews with the actors from The Exorcist. The actors smiled and laughed. They talked about making the movie as if it was fun. "The girl who played Regan, the possessed child, is named Linda Blair," said Ji-woo. She had a good time making the movie. She knew it was all pretend. Slowly the aliens began to relax. They asked questions. They wanted to know how each scary thing in the movie was done. "The green vomit was just pea soup with food coloring," Ji-woo told them. The scary voice was an actor named Mercedes McCambridge. She smoked cigarettes and drank whiskey to make her voice sound rough. After 3 hours, the 5 aliens seemed much better. Their brain scans showed normal patterns again. "How do you feel?" Ji-woo asked them. "Better," said Tai-ho. "When I know how the scary things were made, they're not so scary anymore." "I still don't understand why humans like to be scared," said Hana. "But I understand better how they do it." "That's good progress," said Ji-woo. "Tomorrow we'll try something new. I'll show you a different kind of horror movie, one that's funny too." "Horror can be funny?" asked Gi-won in surprise. "Oh yes," said Ji-woo with a smile. "Humans can laugh at the same things that scare them. That's another way we handle fear." Tae-ho was amazed. Humans were even stranger than he had thought. They made scary things on purpose. They knew how to make the scary things, and they still got scared anyway because they wanted to. Ji-woo saw his confusion. "You're wondering how we can be scared even when we know it's fake, right?" Tae-ho nodded. "It's because humans have good imaginations," she said. "We can pretend something is real even when we know it isn't. It's a kind of game we play with ourselves." "A dangerous game," said Tae-ho. "Sometimes," agreed Ji-woo. "But it makes us stronger. It helps us face real dangers when they come." That night, Tae-ho reported to the Federation. "Dr. Kim's therapy is working for some of us," he said. "We think it will work for the others too. We may not need to wipe any more memories." "Good," said the Federation leader. "And what have you learned about humans?" Tae-ho thought for a moment. "That they are much stronger than they look," he said, "and much stranger. They scare themselves for fun. They know their fears are not real, but they pretend they are real anyway." "Do you think they are dangerous?" asked the leader. "Yes," said Tae-ho honestly, "but not because they want to hurt us. They're dangerous because their minds work in ways we don't understand. They can face things that break our minds. They can look at the darkest parts of life and not just survive, but enjoy it. Should we let them join the Federation?" "Yes," said Tae-ho, "but we should be very careful about cultural exchanges in the future. And we should never ever make them angry." 1 week passed. Dr. Ji-woo's therapy was working. Every day more aliens got better. The 5 crew members who started first, Tai-ho, Hana, Jun, Do-yoon, and Gi-won, were now mostly back to normal. They still didn't like thinking about The Exorcist, but they could talk about it without getting sick. Today they sat in what Ji-woo called her horror processing room. It looked like a human living room. It had soft chairs, warm lights, and small tables with human snacks. It felt safe. "This is how humans watch scary movies," Ji-woo explained. "With friends, in a safe place, with good food. The setting helps them feel better." On the screens around the room, Ji-woo showed them videos of humans talking about horror movies. Film experts explained why people like horror. Actors talked about making scary scenes. There were even funny videos of humans jumping and screaming while watching horror movies, then laughing at themselves. "Humans don't just watch horror movies," said Ji-woo. "They talk about them. They think about how they're made. They share their feelings about them. This helps them process the fear." She showed them a special video about The Exorcist. It showed how each scary part was made. The spinning head was a fake head, not the real actress. The floating body used wires that were hidden by camera tricks. The scary voice was made by a voice actor who smoked many cigarettes to sound rough. "The human child wasn't really hurt?" asked Hana. Her skin had turned a calm green color. "Not at all," said Ji-woo. "Linda Blair, who played Regan, has talked many times about making the movie. She had fun even though her role was hard. She had to sit for hours while they put makeup on her face to make her look possessed. As the aliens watched more behind the scenes videos, they began to see horror movies differently. They weren't real. They were just stories that humans made up to scare themselves, and the humans knew they weren't real all along. But why do humans want to be scared? Asked Giwan. I still don't understand. There are many reasons, said Ji Woo. Some humans like the feeling of being scared when they know they're really safe. It's exciting. Some like the feeling of relief when the movie is over. Some like to test themselves to see if they can handle scary things. She showed them clips from a different kind of horror movie. This one had scary parts but also funny parts. The aliens were confused at first. Why are they laughing? Asked Do Yun. Isn't this supposed to be scary? It's both, said Ji Woo. Humans can find humor in things that scare them. It's another way we handle fear. We laugh at it. The aliens thought this was very strange, but as they watched more, they began to understand a little better. When something scary happened in the movie but then turned out to be silly or fake, they felt a good feeling. Relief, almost like fun. After watching many clips and talking for hours, Ji Woo tested the aliens' brain patterns again. They were much more normal now. I think you're ready for the next step, she said. Tomorrow I want to show you a very mild horror movie, one made for human children. We'll watch just a few minutes. If you feel bad, we'll stop right away. The aliens looked at each other nervously. We don't have to, said Ji Woo quickly. But I think it would help you understand humans better. And if aliens and humans are going to be friends, understanding each other is important. I'll try, said Taeho. The others agreed too, though they still looked worried. The next day they watched 15 minutes of a movie called Monster House. It was made for human children. It had some scary parts, but they were simple and often funny too. The aliens felt nervous but not sick or terrified like before. You did very well, said Ji Woo after they finished. How do you feel? Strange, said Taeho. I felt afraid, but it wasn't as bad this time. I knew it wasn't real. That's how humans watch horror, said Ji Woo. We know it's not real, but we let ourselves feel scared anyway. It's a kind of game. Over the next few days, Ji Woo worked with more aliens who had been hurt by the exorcist. Almost all of them got better with her therapy. They learned to see horror movies as what they really were, just stories and special effects. Only a few aliens were still very sick. They couldn't get better with just therapy. For them, mind wiping was still the only answer. But instead of wiping a whole week of memories, Sunmi could now just wipe the movie itself. This was much safer. 1 month after the movie night disaster, the Harmony was ready to continue its mission. Most of the alien diplomats had gone home. The Federation had decided that humans could still join their alliance, but with new rules about sharing entertainment. All human media will now come with warnings, Taeho told his crew, and aliens will get special training before they watch human entertainment, especially horror. Dr. Ji Woo was getting ready to leave the ship. Taeho went to say goodbye to her. You saved many minds, he told her. Without your help, we would have had to wipe many more memories. I'm glad I could help, said Ji Woo. And I learned a lot too. I never really thought about how strange human entertainment might seem to other species. Can I ask you one more question? Said Taeho. Something I still don't understand? Of course. Humans know so much about what scares them. You study it. You make movies about it. You talk about it. Why don't you just stop being afraid? Why keep fear alive? Ji Woo smiled. Because fear keeps us alive, Captain. Fear tells us when something is dangerous. It makes us careful. It makes us plan ahead. Without fear, humans might not have survived on Earth long enough to meet you. But your fears are often not real, said Taeho. Ghosts and monsters and evil spirits, these things don't exist. True, said Ji Woo. But the feelings they create in us are real, and those feelings help us face real dangers when they come. As the Harmony left Earth's orbit, Taeho looked out at the stars. He thought about what he had learned about humans. They were small beings on a dangerous planet. They had no claws or sharp teeth. They couldn't run very fast. They got sick easily. They lived short lives, but they had learned to face their fears. They even turned their fears into entertainment. They made scary stories and then sat together in dark rooms to watch them. And somehow, this made them stronger. The Harmony moved through space, carrying its report back to the Galactic Federation. The report said that humans were safe to join the Alliance, but it also had a warning. Humans are different from all known species, it said. They seek out fear for fun. They enjoy being scared. This makes them very strong in ways we don't fully understand. They will be good friends to have but would be terrible enemies. We should welcome them to the stars, but we should never forget what they can do. Face fears that would break other minds and call it entertainment. On Earth, in millions of homes, humans were settling down to watch their nightly horror shows, munching on popcorn, screaming, laughing, and enjoying every minute of it.